Hello. So, I dream a lot when I sleep, and I think it's honestly almost every night, but some of them are pretty hard to remember. But ever since I was a kid, I've tried pretty hard to remember them. Can usually remember like a lot of random little details. And it really helps you remember them if you try to think about them in the morning and if you like even write them down. So anyways, here's about 5 dreams that I had that I've written down.
Last night's dream involved Tate plus Scott. For some reason we were all on a paid trip to take a class on Pokemon and maybe science or some other actually serious subject. We had just finished taking a test and it was time to go home. We had a free rented truck to drive back to our hotel with. Scott was driving, Tate was in the front passenger seat, and I was in the back seat. I think Scott was purposely driving out of the town instead of to our hotel, so we were suddenly driving on a dirt road towards an open gate. Scott decided to set the vehicle to cruise control at a medium speed and got out of the vehicle to run behind it while it was heading straight for the side of the gate. We ran into the gate and nearly tore off the entire right side of the truck. For some reason Scott and Tate really wanted to finish tearing off the hanging metal, and all I thought was like we should really call the insurance people laugh out loud. But yeah, we hit the gate but it didn't stop us. The truck kept sliding against the gate, shooting off sparks while moving forward until we passed it. We kept going down the road. A giant truck with a trailer for moving cars was in front of us. It lost a trailer and it acted like a ramp for us. Instead of Tate trying to avoid it, he was just excited and we made a big jump off of it. I think Scott was just sitting in the truck bed during this instead of getting back to the driver's seat laugh out loud. So we landed just fine and kept going up the road, but we were heading up a giant hill into some mountains. I'm like, hey Tate, honk the horn, we should let the truck know he lost his trailer. Tate is just like, whatever, he'll notice. I looked at both sides of the hill and they were steep as hell. Tate is just like, those looked like a hassle to get the truck out of, not really caring for our safety, just the work it would take to get the truck back to the road. So we just kept cruise controlling up the hill. We had to make a turn or crash into a sharp jagged mountain, and we still didn't have anyone in the driver's seat. For some reason I was able to turn the truck by moving Tate's headrest. Scott and Tate were pretty disappointed we never fell or crashed into the mountain. I just kept turning for us, because I didn't want to die. Suddenly, out of nowhere, someone says we should play that back or something like that. So suddenly we're back at the gate and I see us shredding the side of the truck against the gate again. But after that suddenly it turned into a sick slow-motion melee combo video in the middle of the road in front of the gate. There was a Samus that up-tilted a fox, sending him into the air, did an up air, and then launched him into the ground with a down arrow in slow motion. Meanwhile a Captain Falcon jumps in. And then I woke up. The next dream I was just sitting in my apartment at my computer. I hear my doorbell ring. I go answer it and it's just some random solicitor, so I give him like 20 seconds and say no to whatever he says. It happens again, so I sit there for like another 20 seconds listening to their bullshit. So I go to sit back down, and I am sick of them coming to my door already. It happens a third time and I ignore it. After a little waiting they start beating on my door and screaming about how they know I'm in there. So I'm mad and I go to my door, open it, and then me and the 2 door-to-door salesmen start fighting to the death. I got the first hit in and knocked out one of the salesmen by punching him in the face. The other charges at me into my home and we just start fist fighting in the middle of the room. While I'm still fighting him, another 2 show up, but they are near my kitchen window and they set up explosives. They blew up the entire side of my apartment, but then also came in and started fucking up my kitchen, while looking for things to steal. Not really a good place to steal from, really. I don't think they took anything. So I end up knocking out the second dude, but then 2 more start banging on the door trying to get in, but I get to the door in time and just try to hold it shut for a while. They are pushing the door in and the center starts caving in, and the door breaks. They rush in and I start fighting 2 more of them, but then 2 more run in from behind through the giant hole in my kitchen wall. After a decent struggle I end up knocking them out too without getting hurt, but I'm exhausted. I go to check out what happened in the kitchen and the wall with my window is just completely gone and all of my cupboards and fridge are open and the place is a little messy now. The 2 dudes who did it are gone. Some random dude who looks like Morgan. Freeman walks by and says that I should throw out all the food in my fridge because my fridge is clearly busted. I hear a doorbell and look towards my door and see it's a solicitor ringing my neighbor's doorbell. My neighbor answers it, sits there for like 20 seconds, and the solicitor goes away. I just think to myself, dang, if I had just answered the door like my neighbor did, I could have avoided this. So I'm super tired and my apartment is partially destroyed. For some reason there's a long piece of cardboard on my floor and I decided to lay on it and go to sleep in the kitchen. As I'm falling asleep I'm like, wait, maybe I should call the police, but then I'm like, whatever, I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. So, I decide to go to sleep. And then I woke up. I was back in my house in Montana with my family. I was just doing normal stuff like eating, sitting on the couch, used the bathroom, but I do remember the downstairs being really messy and was surprised my parents didn't force me and my brothers to clean it yet. I also really wanted to grab something behind a giant cage with a little lizard in it. I got bit twice by the tiny lizard when I went to reach past this giant cage for something. The little lizard had insanely large fangs and dug them deep into my wrist both times. It was a struggle to get him to let go. After the second lizard attack I went to my room to lie down and thought about life for a while and then started looking at a laptop. When I got up and left my room there was a ton of demon things, and the main one kind of looked like the Predator from Alien vs. Predator. One of them told me that the time for humans as apex predator was over and that it had really only lasted like 200 years. He said that it's only natural that the one at the top would change. He said that humans are weak, but have some highly useful traits. This made me assume that he and his friends would keep humans around for genetic experiments. Then for some reason I hear Nami from One Piece say that back in her day she was the ultimate demon. The Predator just says that's no longer the case and she wasted her potential. She was a powerful demon but somehow became a human. I'm just like, well, that kind of sucks, but he's definitely not gonna be killing us anytime soon, but maybe someday. So I just walk past him to reach for something behind the lizard's cage again, laugh out loud. The little bastard immediately jumps out of his cage and digs his giant fangs into my skin again. The third time was the final straw. I decided I was going to strangle the little lizard to death. As I reached for his neck he let his bite up a bit and he looked up at me and it seemed like he kind of liked me now, but it was too late for that. I started choking him and then the dream ended. I was sitting in one of my old math classrooms in high school. Everyone was sitting in an oval shape facing each other. Everyone was just talking while they drew some art and we were all just getting along really well. Especially me and these two girls, but I think I may have told some jokes at their expense. In the second part of the dream I moved to the science classroom where Mr. Steins is teaching and I'm sitting next to my friend Bailey. We're getting along well and she keeps talking to me and asking me things while I try to pay attention to the lesson too. For some reason she suddenly starts licking my eyeball like crazy and I'm just like, WTF is going on? Then she tells me that friendship involves causing each other pain and I think about her throwing me off a one-story staircase edge and me just suddenly being at 10 out of 20 horsepower and getting up fine and just being like, well, thoughts friendship, but hopefully this doesn't happen too much in one day. Then I think about what happened in the first classroom. Apparently I may have hurt one of my friends in some way and accepted that friendship involves pain, laugh out loud. It may have just been jokes, but the dream hinted at something worse, but even during the dream I wasn't sure what it could have been. Directly after the eyeball licking I'm frantically trying to wipe the spit off my eye as I am suddenly aware that I am missing out on something the whole class is enjoying and the teacher is laughing. Mr. Steins had written some weird formula pun that wasn't actually funny at all, but I started laughing ridiculously hard at it, and then the dream ended. I walk into a medium-sized room. It only has a giant moving chalkboard near the back, but has room to walk behind it. The bottom of the room starts to fill up with a thick fog like smoke. I turn around and there's some blonde Australian women in safari outfits, but their shirts are low-cut and have large breasts. For some reason all of them are bending down and trying to take a bite of something. But kangaroos are nearby and keep putting their human dicks in their mouths as they try to eat something and they get pissed, back off, and try again, laugh out loud. I'm just like, this is a weird advertisement. I decide to search around the floor to get to the bottom of this. I see a bunch of Cheetos on the ground and decide that it's an ad campaign for dick-shaped Cheetos, but I'm just like, these Cheetos don't even look like dicks. These people are stupid.